Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. So today is the 14th of May. It's early Tuesday morning, and yesterday there wasn't really too much of a market bias I could solidify, so I thought I would wait until Tuesday morning. It's currently 6 a.m. I've been up since 4:30 today. I'm hitting the charts hard. Got one or two positions running at the moment. But I'm going to go over what's recently happened on, let's start with GA, do a few markings on here. Then we'll go into the other pairs. So gbp-aud from a weekly perspective, let's go into it. Down here, once the targets were achieved, if I just revert to the day, here's a daily spike, and we came into the spike, as you can remember. We broke out of that, we burst through, we took out liquidity and all of these wicks here. We reverted back into this region, and we shot off to make a new high. Look at this candlestick. We gapped down, we forced our way up. We gapped up and we forced our way down. But on the gap up, we actually made a high at 8.2, which is around 20 to 25 pips higher than the previous. So we actually made textbook high. As you can see, the market actually reverted back to the downside, and now it's trying to find the next direction. Here on the daily, you can clearly see it. Once it actually made the lows at 8,550, we popped back up into 8,700 right there, yesterday's candle. So going into the weekly time frame at the moment, you can see that when we did actually pop back to the upside out of that box region, we left a wick behind. There was a wick to the upside as well, but the previous week, what was important here is that the previous week's candlestick and the price action actually took out this wick right here. So the momentum shifted, momentum held, momentum changed course because it took out the previous wick. Momentum followed through, bulls carried price into the upside, and we came into the weekly wick region right there. So going into the 4-hour time frame, so the day came into 8.7. 4-hourly right now, keeping this chart very simple and precise. What we can see is I took the bodies here on the 4-hourly, I brought my line across. Let me just make that a tad straighter if I can. There, and I'll lock that. So bringing that all the way across, we can see we've had a few retests there, we've had a breach, but now we're actually back below, prices back below this region. We have 8,650 right above us, which can also serve as a confluence for shorts. With this, I'm actually looking at, if I go ahead, copy and paste the line here, unlock that, bring that down, and put that right where the bodies are. Boom, boom, boom. We can see that we're more or less in a range. I believe gbp-aud is going to run short. We're down into 8,550s and where I've just placed at that bottom end line. Short projections for me on this pair. A risk reward setup would look something like this. So it stopped, as you can see, the previous wicks there, that's 74, so I'm going to take that to 80, 5 pips above. Target 1 is going to be right here. Nice intraday trade. This is the one trade I'm actually in at the moment. So reasons for this is 8.7, rejection, came back below our 4-hour level right there. We've left one spike, two spikes to the upside. We've had previous spikes as well from recent market price action, and I'm taking target 1 right here. This can actually come a lot lower though, GA. All the way back down into maybe these regions, 8.4, 8.450, but I'll cross that bridge when we do come to it. I am keeping an eye on this area right here where this wick has been thrown to the upside, so all across here, potential projections for downside. But the risk reward setup here, we're risking 43 pips for a potential of 80 pips, so it's a pretty decent risk reward trade. Good ratio on there. I'm just waiting for now the bull market to roll over, and here is the hourly time frame. Simple as that really. So I'll check back in on that one very soon. On to the next chart. Right, so onto GA now. Short and sweet on this time frame. The explanation here. So we ran into the highs, we gapped up that week, but we actually made a new high past the previous. So rules of price action had been fulfilled. With that being said, we dragged to the downside. We tried to more or less climb out the barrel, if you will, here, slap back down, Gapped lower this week, again tried to climb up the barrel, slapped back down, shooting star candle, but the wicks at the highs are important. Now, downside, we do have the daily zone, daily region, which market has came into test. As you can see right here, 1, 2, rebound to the highs. So we probably are going to be magnetized into that region on GA. Now, with that being said, let's go into the day and see how the day has been performing and how price action has been treating the chart on the daily time frame. So looking at this right now, what we can actually see is we went into the highs. We had the 8,900 level above, which we could have just used as a mental projection note that we do have that area above us, so we can actually gain a little bit more confidence with our short projection in this case, which it was. And we can go from there. So here, let's just study what's going on this. It looks very messy, but let me break it down. Now, remember here, when we were going through the spike to the high, spike to the high, spike to the high, and we were looking at, market collapsing into this zone. We had some MAs to help us, but we're moving on from the moving averages. So let's just see what we can do with the actual price action. Now, we have consolidation right here, 8,650. Where my crosshair is at 8,650 marks on a psychological level. So without any add-ons, 8,650, first point of call, what we can see there is now transitioning into crosshair trading, and we're getting to the point where we can read everything subconsciously and at the tip of our minds in order to project where the price is going, understand where the PA is going, and keep the charts as clean as possible with minimal drawings. So with that being said, we can see spike, 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 spike. All of these spikes throwing up to the highs tells us that GA is having issues to the upside. Issues to the upside. Especially here, we gapped down, we spiked into the high, but look where we spiked into again. GA, GA is round numbers, 8,550. And look at across here to the left where it used it as support. So again, just reading this, you can take it to a different level of understanding and not get confused. So what I'm looking for now, because the spike to the high, it fulfilled 8.5 and also kind of fulfilled the gap. I don't really believe in the gap theory, but sometimes obviously people will push it there through the market and the transactions and so forth because it's more or less fulfillment, technical and psychological fulfillment. Now, what's happening here is we're going to roll down, we're going to be attracted into 8,150, 8,150, 8,100. So for me, after yesterday, that was a good short on the day. Example would be short after the closure, but the stop would have to go above the high. However, the daily analysis, just to get this straight, the daily analysis, we are going to be following this pattern, I believe. I'll be very, very surprised if we rebound back to the upside on here. Looking at the 4 hourly, gets a little bit more interested now. So again, 8,650, you can see across here where spike, spike above. And by the way, guys, that setup we had on the last video, it did actually hit target. So it's around here somewhere. I took the drawing off, but it did actually hit target on that last setup, the short, which I did explain. Important key factors to note: we have spike, 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 spike. 8,650, 8,700, look at that here, bang. So we do have those psychological barriers as well. 8,600. Sorry, 1 second. 8,600, 8,550, and then we had the rollover, boom, there. So a good short trade, 8,500, 8,550. If you caught this again on a 4-hour monetization rather than the daily spike into the high closure, that's your short right there. Stop loss 3 to 5 pips above, rolling over, and then we have our daily target. We have our daily target right there. It's another 150 pips away, more than that, 200 pips, whatever it is, because we have various targets. We could come all the way back into 1.8, but guys, keeping that clean, simple and precise, that is what we're looking at on GA. And yeah, let's just see how that one plays out. It's quite simple, quite straightforward, to be honest. I hope you understand that. And again, I'm doing a lot of things in my mind right now with the psychological levels, key levels, and just knowing, again, this is the level that we want to try to get to, is when we actually know it's all in our heads and we can clear it all up. We don't have to draw all of the indicators on anymore. We don't even have to use the MAs and stuff. Again, people have to go through that phase in order to get to the level of cleanliness and clarity on the charts, but it just opens up a whole new world where you can look at a chart and know exactly what the candles are telling, you know exactly what the numbers are telling it, and it becomes a nice clear illustration of clarity. So we can get to the level where we can take many of the tools off. We can look at the charts instantaneously and allow it to paint a clear illustration of clarity, knowing through experience and knowing exactly what is happening behind the candle, what exactly is happening behind the spikes, correlating it with certain numbers on the chart. We can actually go deeper into it and remove certain barriers which can be holding us back and allow further chart hygiene. So GA, various shorts were thrown into the mix in the last week or so, but we're looking at 8100 and then 1.8. So let's go. Hello friends, let's get straight to it on the gbp-aud. So finally, GA sunk into our region. We made lows, let's say 8150, as you can see right there. Looking over to the left hand side, taken from the wick down to the base of the wick into the bodies there as well, where we actually reacted once before on GA. And as you can remember, we came into the higher regions, made the high, as you can see there, tipped above on the gap up, pulling the market back down on the Monday Asian session, early morning, and then we just had gentle swings to the downside on the daily time frame. I'll get into the 4 hour in a moment. So what's next for GA? Now, I'm going to be moving on to a new exercise where we're focusing primarily on GBP JPY in a whole new set of videos, showing you a few little tricks there, and that's going to be quite interesting to go forward. And you can also apply these methods, which I'm going to show you, on the other currencies, but my favored is GJ because of the liquidity and volume it provides. So we came into the region, we bottomed out 8150 where the crosshair is just here, as you can see, came into that 1, 2, 3 spikes, and the market is now in consolidation and it's bouncing on the resistance at 8250. So 8150, 8250, a nice 100 pip range in which it's trying to make up its next directional bias in the move. If we look into the weekly, as you can see, GA on the weekly, nothing really exciting there, apart from we have a similar pattern where the spike has gone into the lows, body has closed, in this case of the candlestick, probably around, if we take the high of the wick down to the base, probably around 55 to 60% of the overall down move, because we did pop up first. But over here, what we can see is the momentum is losing steam. The candle has probably closed around 45 to 50%, and we've left the wick behind right into 8150. So if I put my crosshair where it is right now, you can clearly see red candle, spike through it, and then over here, red candle, spike through it. So momentum is losing steam, and I do believe that just looking at this weekly time frame right now with the pointers I've just expressed, we can in fact pop back to the upside. So the weekly bias is a reversal at this zone. Going into the daily, what we do need to keep an eye on is the 8250. We need a break above that region. So breaking above that region will actually take us higher. Now my toolbar has miraculously disappeared unless there has been some updates to TradingView on this browser. What the hell? I'll figure that out in a moment. But what we need to see is the market to pull above 8250 on the daily time frame. So let's say tomorrow that the next candlestick breaks above that and closes above that. It tells us that the range, if you again, crosshair trading over here, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once we've broken above that range, it can solidify that this pattern has drilled into 8150. We have found a massive area of demand for the pair, and we are now heading higher. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, again, nothing really spectacular here. Again, quite difficult to decipher the next directional bias because we are in the consolidation area, but I do believe that unless we take out the lows and unless we actually break below 1.8150, the market will be heading higher. Now, looking at previous price action and areas of concern, and when I say concern, it's not in a bad light, it's the concerning areas in which the market can actually run and tap into. 8250, all we need is a break above that. You can see clearly here we spiked once, spiked twice, but the market, even though it has come back into the lows, 8200 right here, is an issue for gbp-aud at the moment. So what I'm actually expecting on this pair to actually, again, I don't know where the damn bar has gone on the left hand side. However, if we were to draw a simple line across at 8250, we could clearly just wait for a break to the upside, retest, and then a boost in price momentum. Now what we can see over here on the 4 hourly as well, the market, it wasn't extremely high in volume, but the market was simply just sinking into that zone. So what we can expect now is a boost in volume. Look at the previous price action. Over here on the left, we've come into the region, we've tested it, and then we've absolutely blown out of that region to make the highs. I don't really see, it would be surprising for me to see price come all the way back up to the highs at 8.8. I would want to just take this one in small steps, across the bridge when we come to it, so to speak. But what I will be looking for, guys, is the high of this spike over here. So anywhere up to 8,600 from 8,250. So we need a break above 8,250, the market to then consolidate, and then we can see upward price momentum pushes into the region, and we can take profits at 8.6. So I'm going to get to the bottom of where my toolbar has disappeared to, hopefully in the next video, and go from there. But yeah, we are in consolidation. Alternatively, we would have to make new structural lows past 8,150 down here for the market to then maybe retest and continue to the downside. But I do think we are in for a nice sudden volume boost to the upside, and again 8,600 is a level that I have in mind. Maybe just above 8.6 again at the tip of this wick over here, but I do believe this space can now be covered.